Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Man, I'm trying to get that down pat. Man, I'm going to do an off work thing later on, man. Last night was crazy, dog. Oh my God, it was crazy. But we'll talk about that later. Now, in the media today, everybody keep talking about which big three is better, Clay, KD, and Steph versus KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. And it's like this, like, why everybody forget when KD played with Westbrook, and then choked in. I guess they were like, well, they didn't do anything. They didn't win. Well, this team ain't win yet. You guys were the same ones being mad at the big three of when he went there. Then you guys tried to say it was a big four with Draymond. But the previous year, y'all said Draymond sucked. So it didn't matter when he got suspended. It's like you guys can't make up your mind. Excuse me, man. I'm tired as hell. It's like you guys can't make up your mind. Look, you cannot compare this three compared to the Warriors. This three, Kyrie, James, I call them Flat Earth. All right, we got Flat Earth, we got choked in, and we got KD. These three guys were franchise players. Listen to me. They were Fran, Fran, and then Chise, Chise, franchise. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Hold on, let's say it back with me. Franchise players. Okay? This is what it is. They're franchise players. James Harden and Kyrie are franchise players along with KD. Klay Thompson and Draymond are not franchise players. You guys are trying to compare this Nets team to that Warriors team. It's not going to work. They're different. And then second of all, the Nets haven't won anything. And first of all, how are you guys in the media going to talk about KD, Big Three, and you guys hated on it. Y'all didn't like it. So why are y'all even trying to bring it up? Oh, I know why y'all bringing it up. Because LeBrownies told you to bring it up. Because LeBrownies is trying to make his career better than what it is. Man, my career better. You know, it's better. No, it's not. You got beat by a team that only had 2 franchise players on their team. And I don't want to hear that crap about, oh, they were 73. No. That bench, when they had that bench, that was tough. That was what was helping Golden State win 73 games, because Steph would be out the rest of the game in the third quarter. He would sit down because the bench was so lethal. The bench was blowing people out. You had Barbosa, you had Iggy, you had Sean Livingston, you had others coming off the bench. So, to me, this is an agenda to try to heighten LeBrownie's legacy. LeBrownie's legacy is trash. Let's just put it out there. When he retires, I hope his fan base and the rest of these bums go with him, because his career is going to be forgettable. Like, I don't remember really a great highlight from LeBron. Like, seriously, I don't. I really don't see him as a top 50 or 80 player. I really don't. I would take Sam Cassell over him. And it's not being disrespectful. Sam Cassell could lead a team. Everywhere Sam went, they got to the playoffs. if not damn near close to getting to the championship. So it's like, what are you guys talking about? What are we even rambling about? The Nets big three and the Warriors big three. Let's compare it. Okay, let's compare it. When KD was with the Warriors, you got KD. Okay. Now, let's look at his teammates. Steph Curry and Kyrie. Okay. Steph Curry and Kyrie. Now, which player is better? I did a video about this between AI, Steph Curry, and Flat Earth, Kyrie Irving. And I talked about this. I talked about this about comparing them between Steph and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is the better, how can I say it? Kyrie Irving is more like Allen Iverson than Steph is. Steph's more like Reggie Miller. Those guys have to play in a certain system, a system catered to their skill set, and they'll go off. Whereas Kyrie and AI are the same. You don't need, you could throw them anywhere. They're going to ball. If I put Kyrie on Sacramento or anywhere, Kyrie is going to dominate the ball too much. When he was to himself, when he was leader of the team, or when he was the guy with the ball in his hands, they really struggled under Kyrie, because Kyrie's not a guy who's going to move the ball. Kyrie's a guy who's going to dominate the ball. He's going to score. Now, he'll move the ball once in a while, but he mainly wants to score and take on the giant himself. Steph Curry is a guy who will utilize the players around him. Like, even if they're losing, Steph will figure out a way to make them better. He will figure out a way to make them better. And this is something that he's great at, because he could play off the ball. Kyrie could play off the ball. He's showing this year. Kyrie is really like showing this year leadership and showing how he's helping people. Joe Harris and these guys are finishing at the hoop with their left hand. Who do you think's teaching him that? Kyrie. So we didn't really get a chance to see Kyrie go off like that, because if Kyrie would have, if LeBron would have never came back, I think we would have seen the best of Kyrie. Kyrie would have figured it out and would have made his team better, because they would have added the pieces to make them better. But to me, depending on the team you're building, if I have a championship winning team, if I have a championship team and I'm ready for them to win right now, I would bring in Steph Curry. Now, if I have a team that has a bunch of role players and guys who are half-assing, I'm bringing in Kyrie. It's just simple facts. And to me, Kyrie basically could had a brain fart, y'all. Sorry, I was checking my phone. Kyrie basically is a guy who you would build a team around. Like, you could build a team around Steph, but you have to put certain parts around Steph for Steph's game to elevate. Like, Steph needs a Draymond Green. Point, period, blank. Just like Reggie Miller needed a Mark Jackson. They need that point guard, because they're not guys who like to dominate the ball off the dribble, get to the next level. They can't. Kyrie's more in line with a player who, I got all these parts, I need you to go out there and play. Kyrie gonna go out there and light it up. Kyrie's problem has been health. He's always been injured. If he would have never had the injury bugs, I believe, early on in his career, Kyrie would have been a monster. But you can't compare these big threes. You can't, because Kyrie and Steph, there's things that Kyrie does that's better than Steph. Like if Kyrie was playing on that Warriors team last year with no Draymond Green, or this year, that team would have still he'd have still did what he had to do. And that's facts. Now, Steph is a guy, like I say, he needs a point guard. He can handle it, but he needs a point guard. He needs a guy to distribute to everybody plus him. So I understand that. Now, and who would I pick over these two, Kyrie? I think I would go with would I go with Kyrie? I would take Steph over Kyrie because Steph to me is a better leader. To me, he's a leader. He communicates a little better. Kyrie will go home, like he'll go off the grid one day. He'll just leave the court without telling people what's up, or he's not a guy who's really a bonding type guy. He's a guy who is to himself. So now, and Chef's leadership, not only that, helps the team in many ways because with if Dre's not there, Steph is still elevate guys. He'll still help guys get better. And he's proven this year that when they need him to go off and put the ball in his hands and take over, Steph has shown he could take over. So all of that clowning him and talking bad about, look, Steph Curry's better than LeBron. He's always been better, period. So stop with all the crying because LeBron's a stat sheet stuffer. He's just like Terrell Owens. They're both stat sheet guys. As long as their stats look good, they're okay. Now, I'm sorry I had to say that. I had to go off a little bit. Now, James Harden, or I like to call him James Chokedon, against Klay Thompson. Um, James Harden is the better overall player, but Klay Thompson is a better defender, if that makes any sense. As far as defense, Klay is probably the best or one of the best defenders we have in this league. I don't know how he's going to be coming back, but Klay a problem. So now Klay would be coming off screens and shooting and that. When James Harden wants to play defense, he could play defense. But the overall player, I would go with James Harden over Klay Thompson. Because James could control the pace. He's a point guard. I kept telling people James is a point guard. He just can score. Like, people thought I was crazy when I said I would take James Harden over Steve Nash. I would. James Harden was better than Steve Nash. Steve Nash couldn't do the things that James could do. And James is almost 6'6". He's at least like 6'5". So James Harden. James Harden could pass better. He can score better. Can't shoot better. He's a better scorer. And he's a better rebounder than Klay. James gets rebounds and he could get offensive rebounds. And James Harden could guard the post better than Klay can. Klay's more of a perimeter defender. A post defender on the blocks. James Harden is very underrated, and he plays the passing lanes well. And he's very indescribable. Not indescribable. He basically so he basically also I think he led a few times in steals, I believe James Harden did. But I would take James Harden over Klay. Kyrie. Now, Kyrie, like I said, Kyrie is to me great at what he does, but I would take Steph over Kyrie, and then I would take James Harden over Clay. Um, Depending on the team. Now, if it's a championship team, then I'm taking Clay. If I already got the pieces around, I would take Clay instead of Peterson. I said Peterson, wrong sport. Yeah, I would take Clay. So to me, whose big three is ultimately better? We have to wait and see. Brooklyn has not done anything yet. They haven't. And that team that Golden State had, Golden State was a better team. But their big three, I wouldn't say necessarily is better, but they are a better team. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, their bench and supporting cast is better than I thought after the trade. So that could be something to watch. And they got a tall guy on the bench. He hasn't played yet. Excuse me. I don't know why he's just sitting on the bench. They need his size. But the best big three you would have to go with the Warriors. To me, they were great. Like their big three was great as far as fitting together because Clay doesn't need the ball. But what we're seeing now, like I kept telling people, Kyrie could play without the ball in his hands. Kyrie could do what Steph does. The only reason why I put Steph over Kyrie is because of leadership. That's it. And because of how he can direct men to get in place. Kyrie, to me, could get guys going like that. But to me, KD's going to be more of the guy who's going to get the team, calm everybody down. Kyrie he's to himself. KD got to be like Phil was with when he was coaching with Kobe. Because Kobe didn't get along with everybody. So, or Mike. Mike didn't get along with everybody, but they needed that Phil Jackson to come in and just tell, look, you got to calm down. Like you good. Like Mike's good, man. You know how Mike is. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, to me, the better one is Golden State because of the parts. Steph Curry could play without the ball. Clay could play without the ball. KD could play without the ball. And Draymond was the point guard. But this team is different because James Harden can facilitate and be a floor general just like Draymond, and he could give you 20 some points. So he could give you 15 to 20 some. He could go for 30 or 40, and he could hit his last second shot. James' thing is, as long as he's not the guy, he'll be fine. Because in the playoffs, James choked and going to show up. So, but you got Kyrie and KD to balance that out. All KD and Kyrie need is Harden to carry the season. When they get to the playoffs, that's when we're going to see KD and Kyrie. And to me, KD and Kyrie are better closers. Klay Thompson is underratedly, he's more clutcher than James Harden. But James Harden's the better overall player. It's the same argument with Eli. Well, no, I ain't gonna say that. No, Clay's way better than Eli. He's way better. So that's how I look at it. I believe that the Golden State big three was better. But it's not by that much because this Nets team is surprising me. Like, you gotta understand, like, this Nets team is dangerous. Even though their defense, as long as they hold a team under 120, they'll be good. Seriously, they'll be fine. Because when they hold teams under 120, when they hold teams under 120, they've actually won those games. And when they turn in the second half against the Suns, their defense got a lot better. Like, I don't know what was said in the locker room. I don't know if KD or Kyrie or somebody said something. I think James Harden just had enough. Was like, look, man, we finna come back and beat these guys. And plus, Chris Paul was over there. He don't like Chris Paul. So, but I'm going with Golden State slightly. I don't think it's as blown away as possible. But the only reason they're talking about it is because they want LeBrownie's legacy to be intact. They wanted to make it seem like LeBrownie's had to go against all these great players to get to where he had to get to. It's a cry. It's a loading. It's a pain in the ass to hear that crap. But like I said, I got the Warriors slightly. The Nets could be a better big three depending on how the season ends, because we never seen this before. 3 guys who were franchise players, but all 3 dominate the ball. But what I'm trying to tell people is, my brother Kraken said it's going to work because Kyrie doesn't need the ball in his hand like that, nor does KD. He's the only one who said that. He said, oh, it's going to work because Kyrie and KD like each other. They want to win. And then you add James Harden. He even said, oh, James, oh, yeah, I called it back in the day. OKC. I told everybody, this is what OKC would have looked like if James Harden would have been the starting point guard. You would have had Westbrook at the 2, and you'd have had KD over at the 3. OKC would have won a championship. They'd have won 2. That OKC with Harden and them, they would have beaten that Golden State team if they would have stayed together, because Serge Ibaka would have shut Draymond down. Draymond was not getting nothing on Serge. I'm sorry. Serge was a problem. So, like I said, this is basically OKC Nets, except you take Westbrook out. I trust Kyrie more than Westbrook. That's why I said this team could win the championship. From what I've been watching, the East, I think they can win the East. Seriously. The refs are going to try to screw them, but I don't see that even stopping them. So let me know in the comment section, man. Who do you like better, the Nets or the Warriors big three? But the reason they're talking about this is they're trying to hype LeBrownie Blame's name up. They're trying to make him bigger than what he is because they want his legacy to look like he went against somebody and it was hard. LeBrownies, you had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Those were 2 franchise players. You should have beat the Warriors. The reason y'all lost to the Warriors when they got KD, you were afraid to guard KD. If you would have took the challenge and shut KD down, y'all would have beat the Warriors. I said this a long time ago. Steph and them, Clay is a system guy. Draymond is a floor general. You just have to worry about him getting rebounds or playing defense. He's going to get a triple single. That's it. I'm not worried about him. So that's what I'm saying. They're only doing this to hype his legacy up. His legacy is crap. And I tell his fans this. If he's so great, why is everybody being torn down like Kobe and Mike? If you're great, stand on your own too. They didn't have to compare Kobe to Mike. We knew Kobe was great. They didn't have to compare Michael to Dr. J. We knew Michael was great. Point, period, blank. So let me know in the comment section which big three is better. I'm choosing the Warriors slightly. Thank you for listening, man. I'm out. Deezy.